Hey everybody, what's going on? Another quiet week for the Montreal Canadiens after they acquired Sean Monahan from the Calgary Flames. But there was an interesting little tidbit that was thrown at us last night from the Montreal Canadiens on their Twitter account and social media. They released about a 15-minute video, kind of like an inside the draft room type reality thing. And I think it was a really good look into what the Montreal Canadiens front office is trying to do right now. There was a lot of different personnel involved there, a lot of different people in management. You got kind of an inside look at what it was like to be at the NHL draft this year in their war room. And it just was a very interesting look as to what this management team is going to bring to the table and what they look for in players. Of course, during these things, you only see what they want you to see, but I just thought it was very interesting. With that being in the dog days of summer, I figured it was an appropriate time to look at the Montreal Canadiens farm system now, especially after that video was released last night by the Montreal Canadiens. So I think that we're going to dive into the top 5 prospects in the Montreal Canadiens system right now. Now, of course, it's hard to put anyone at number one on this list besides the recent number one overall selection in the 2022 NHL entry draft, and that is none other than Juraj Slafkovsky. This is the type of player that is going to be a home run swing for the Montreal Canadiens, and if you look at what they said inside that video last night, they were comfortable taking any of the top 3 players in this draft as long as they had the highest upside, and that was something that Ken Hughes spoke on multiple times. They were looking for who's going to be the best player with the most upside down the line, not who the best player is going to be tomorrow. And I think Slafkovsky brings such a unique skill set to the table that he can be a pillar for what the Montreal Canadiens are looking to do on offense for the next decade. Now, here's where things get more interesting for the Montreal Canadiens because you can make a case for multiple players here to come in at the number 2 slot, but I'm going to go with defenseman Kaiden Guhle. This is one of the most fearsome prospects in the Habs system. It's a guy that scoring wingers and centers don't want to go down the wing against because this is the type of guy that shuts you down, is hard to play against, can move the puck, has a huge frame, and can also skate very well as well for a guy of his size. This is the type of player that is going to fit very nicely on the Montreal Canadiens second pair, and he's someone that is just going to be a quiet leader in the dressing room, someone who's going to lead by example. Of course, he's not going to be Shea Weber, but he brings that quiet leadership like Weber did to the fold, and I think that Guhle is going to play in a Montreal Canadiens uniform for a very long time. I'm going to group a few of these defensive prospects together here, and that's Lane Hutson and Justin Barron, who the Montreal Canadiens acquired from the Colorado Avalanche at the trade deadline last year in exchange for Artturi Lehkonen. And this is a big reason why the Montreal Canadiens can feel a little more comfortable moving forward on defense. They still don't really have that standout number 1 potential defensive prospect in their system, and that's still something that's missing drastically. But Lane Hutson provides something in this organization that they've been drastically looking for. He has the potential to be a puck-moving difference maker at the next level, can play in your top 4 with someone like a Kaiden Guhle or a bigger defenseman, maybe even a Justin Barron as well down the line. But both of these two players bring something different to the table. Barron's more of a two-way threat, but he's going to play in the NHL. He's a very smart player, and I think that this is going to be a trade that works out for both the Avalanche and the Montreal Canadiens long term. But Hutson is just someone that provides such a unique skill set that all of the Stanley Cup winning teams just have on their roster. If you listen to the video from last night that I've been talking about, Eric Crawford said as such, and I think it's important to look down the line as to what this defensive core could be like for the Montreal Canadiens. And I see a very realistic case that both Justin Barron and Lane Hutson will both be on it. Now, all of these lists are, of course, up for debate, but the next 2 players I want to talk about are Joshua Waugh and Philip Mazar, the Montreal Canadiens' first-round selection in the 2022 NHL draft after Slafkovsky. I think both of these players are very solid, projectable NHL talents down the line. I think that Waugh probably has a bit higher of a ceiling than Mazar, but Mazar just brings more stability to the table as of right now, whereas Waugh is kind of like that home run type selection that could pan out and really be a difference maker at the NHL level, but it's unknown if his skill set will translate to the bigger level. Still, I think both of these players are absolutely warranted in this top 5 or top 6 for the Montreal Canadiens prospect system. And I think both could be ultimately difference makers at the next level. And in terms of difference makers, I mean kind of like middle six forwards. Those type of players are always needed in an NHL lineup. And I think the Montreal Canadiens lack that type of talent right now. They need talent. It's quite evident in terms of how they're building this roster. And these two type of players certainly embody that skill set that's needed right now. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below who your top 5 current prospects are in the Montreal Canadiens system. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.